Hey, Kuba, this is Adrian Gomez with 212 Athlete. Thanks for attending the camp, and I'm excited to get you this video analysis. So as you get into your back leg squat, and you can see it here, you do a good job of staying on that back leg. Your knee getting inside, I'd like to see your knee turn in this direction, get inside a little bit better. What that's going to do is it's going to be able to allow you to push earlier, because right now you're pushing and your foot's down, so you basically all of that energy that could have driven you down the mound is not able to do what you want it to do. And so you could have the potential of increasing velocity if you just traveled a little bit further down the mound. But you're doing a great job of squatting. I want it below 110 and you're at 105. So that's fabulous. Looking at plant leg, let's look at what you do with your knee, which actually looks pretty fabulous. Your knee kind of firms up, and there's not a lot of movement in the knee, which is what we want. So that's a positive. So external rotation, not an issue there. At plant leg, looking at your back leg, double angle of your knees, about 89 degrees. And this is what I'm talking about, that extension with your front foot. If you could get a little bit further out, this angle is going to go up. It just means that your angles are small because you're not continuing to drive that upper body or that front side far enough, and so you're having to throw with a lot of arm, and we just want to reduce that. So that 89 degrees needs to be increased by extending your front foot a little bit further. As far as your next one, the front knee, it looks pretty good. 44 degrees, and it retracts before extension. So it looks pretty good. So front knee, but the double angle, that needs to work. You need to work on that, extending that front leg a little bit further. And the next one would be that your back knee needs to be inside. So getting into posture at ball release, this is, you can see that your eyes are off the target almost the whole time, and as you drive through, your back leg comes off the ground, and I want to make sure that my back leg doesn't come off the ground, that it stays there, drags, and that allows your hips to stay through and for you to drive and get further out in front. So your posture at ball release right here, that's where you're at. Let's take you all the way back. So this is, you're really sinking down with your chest. And what I'd like to see is you find a happy medium, maybe there, so that when you drive, I'm moving from starting here and I'm ending here. I'm not getting a huge head movement. And that's going to help you rotate a lot better than you are right now. So I hope that makes sense. I don't want you to start forward. I really want you to start back. Instead of going forward with your chest, I want you to stay back in this position. And I think you sink a little bit further than you would like. I'd like you to stay back with your head about a foot and then maintain that all the way to release point. So hope that makes sense. If we can get your upper body back longer, I think you're going to have a chance to really do a great job. We're going to get into the launch. The launch is what we call a marginal launch. You're launching actually over that front foot, if not a little bit further back, and you can see why. Your arm comes and extends far outside of your body, and that's just putting a ton of pressure on your shoulder and elbow. Your elbow's not staying bent; it's staying straight. You are pronating, but when your hand goes way outside of that elbow, and your chest is going this way and your arms going the opposite way, there's a disconnection there. And number one, it's going to decrease velocity. Number two, it might increase pain and potentially injury. So we want to avoid that. Getting into stacking in a acromial line, like I said earlier with that back leg, I want to get that knee inside, pointing inside, and this upper body back, but I don't want you to slouch. I want you to stay back into this, right in that position. So if I can get you to move back into that position, your head's going to move a lot less, and you're going to be able to drive with your body and not have to throw with so much arm. You're not going to have these kind of disconnections where your head's going one way and the arm's going the opposite. All of that's going to stay together, and that's what we call connection. So stacking, definitely something that I want you to work on for sure. Looking at front glove right away as you go through, you actually do a good job of pinching and rotating that way. I'm not going to say that that's an issue, because I think you do a good job of that. I'd like to see you, this is what we call a high or a low elbow right here. And what I'm seeing right now, your arm is low as you come through. Your shoulders are lined up, but your elbow is far lower than what it should be. It's about 22 degrees low. What I'd like to see is that you're right there. So your elbow needs to travel up to this line, and how we do that is we get you can see how your wrist is down and it's kind of floppy there. It's not back and tight. I'd like to see you from here. I'd like to see a higher elbow and a better pinch, and that's where that arm care comes in, pinching and able to pinch and then rotate that into release point. So that's a huge disconnection with the elbow, and I think you're going to really have to work on that, and that's what we call a high or a low elbow. You have a low elbow by 22 degrees, so that's huge. If you fix that with the drills online, you're going to have a greater likelihood of throwing harder and then keeping yourself safe. Looking into chest extension here, your chest extension is at 31 degrees, and I'd like to see you at 48 degrees, somewhere in there. So this knee's coming back. You're doing a good job of bringing your knee back, but your chest needs to drive further. And instead of pushing the ball out past your elbow, you're going to get it out in front, and we're going to change that launch from back here to out here, just by driving that chest forward. The last thing I'm going to talk about is what we call crossing or arm fly out. So what happens is I'm going to take a cross section of this elbow here. So as you go forward, your arm's flying straight out, and what I'd like to see is this elbow staying bent, and as it rotates back, that you're driving with your chest forward this way, and you're not going this way. I don't want you to go the opposite way. I want all of your energy going forward, and your head staying on plane, and your wrist as well. Instead of flying out, I'm going to stay on top. And all of those drills are online at 212athlete.com. You have a great opportunity to work on some of these drills and really fix your ability to throw. And we're not just talking about that we're not successful. What I'm saying is we're going to try to turn you into the world-class thrower that you could be, not just a thrower, but somebody who's the top in the world. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk to you soon.